Morning.
Decide this stuff and it's on sitting.
I'll respond back to
Continue to sit indefinitely.
Well, just checking because we're having some technical difficulties. Can you hear us in the room?
I can hear you.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Wonderful. Thank
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm Christina Sorrento. I'm the Chief of the Intake and Regulatory Coordination Division. And this is the DRC meeting for New Canaan Church. Forgive me, I forget who the lead reviewer is.
Jeff Server.
Jeff, thank you. Jeff Server is the lead reviewer. He will bring up the plan and go through highlight any of the major issues that are going on with the plan, and then turn it over to the applicant for questions. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded, and I will turn it over to Jeff.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Christina. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Okay, so the New Canaan Church, hopefully is my screen showing up for everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. This is a concept plan application for a new church that would be located off of Bryant's Nursery Road, which is a rustic road. They're proposing an approximately 8,000 square foot church. Would be 2 stories, so where my cursor is. And the major issues at this time are primarily questions related to parking and just making sure that they're actually meeting the parking based on the proposed congregation or proposed number of users for the church. Outside of that, the applicant has met with us previously leading up to this concept plan application, where a number of design issues were discussed and many of which were incorporated into the current design. Other concerns at this time have also been related to meeting parking lot, landscaping, screening, and there are a number of things that still would need to be incorporated into this should it move forward, as well as providing additional information showing conformance with the zoning of the property. I also would like to note that we have received correspondence regarding this concept plan. All of that correspondence is going to be included as a part of the public record following this and will be available within DAIC for the applicant team and for the other reviewing agencies. So with that, I'm happy to turn it over for any questions.
Does the applicant have any questions?
I was just going through the comments that were forwarded. And there are some comments about guidelines for impervious area cover. I'm trying to see who made those comments to see if they're.
I'm Doug Johnson. That would be
Oh,
me.
Hey, Doug. Yeah, so it said it was between 10 and 15%. So I the property is about 7 acres. Gives us a little over an acre of an impervious area, which I believe we're near or a little under. But in general, is that a hard and fast rule? Is it 15 is the cap, or is it on a case by case basis that it's looked at for the impervious cover?
This is a requirement coming out of the master plan, the Cloverleaf master plan.
Right.
And in that master plan, it recommends a 10 to 15% impervious surface goal. I'll use that with air quotes.
Right.
For the Northwest branch, which
Correct.
This is in that Northwest branch watershed. And we have historically approach this is that the logic is that if every project coming in can meet this 10 to 15% goal, then that should hold the watershed to that limit. So is it a hard and fast impervious cap like some areas have? No, it's not. It is a goal, and we will strive to meet that goal. And so we require all the applicants in this watershed to work pretty diligently to try to adhere to that.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Okay.
But it's between 10 and 15. It's not, is the commission's goal to keep it at 10 for new projects to kind of make up for old projects, or I mean, are we allowed to go up to 15? I mean, in general.
Yeah, that's what the master plan
Okay.
allows.
All right.
So
thank you.
that's what we look at.
And then in terms of that wood pervious pavement, that would still count towards the impervious goal or impervious limit, correct?
Well, porous pavement is not considered pervious.
Okay.
It's actually considered impervious because of the compacted base.
Yes, yeah, I guess. So that if we did pervious pavement for a stormwater treatment, it would still count towards that cap.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
Okay.
There were some comments about the septic area. It has not been, we just have a large reserve area at this point. But there was question about, not clearing the entire area. And I guess I just want to clarify, we would only actually physically clear what's necessary for the initial installation, actual construction. But for the FCP, we'd have to count the entire septic area as cleared from a worksheet standpoint. So, but I think the intention is not to clear any more woods than would be necessary to install the initial septic. I think there was a comment about that as well. I had no further questions. I think the comments were pretty straightforward. And I appreciate the thoughtfulness. I think this will guide us moving forward if the project does progress.
Okay, thank you. I apologize. I'm usually used to more questions. Is there any additional feedback we could provide for you on anything or clarification of any sort if you don't have any questions, or is that?
So there was, I mean, the only other thing I was curious about is with this, I think Deepak, I don't know if he's on, but he made the comment they're not going to do a formal letter. But in this particular case, they will be having no activities, I guess, during typical, peak hours. So I know we need to address site distance, but if anybody from DOT's on or from transportation planning,
Deepak's on.
Would a traffic statement be acceptable in this particular case because there'd be no activities during peak hours? Their services would be on the weekends or occasionally in the evenings. Could you speak to that, whether we're going to need a formal traffic impact study?
Yeah,
This is
so-
Deepak, this is Rebecca. So that's, planning has to make that determination.
Okay.
And so they should provide comment on that.
Yeah, this is Florence Dwyer with planning. Yeah, you'll just have to provide us with an exemption statement stating, why there's not trips during the peak hour when trips are occurring, and just explain that, there won't be more than 30 new peak hour vehicle trips on the weekdays.
Okay.
This is Rebecca. I'm not sure that that's correct. I mean, it's based on your peak hour trips based on the ITE. So whatever it says based on the seats or size of the development is what it is.
Right, Rebecca, but I think what we're saying is that if they're not providing like a daycare or anything else that happens during the weekday, if all their activities are happening on the weekends, we focus on peak hour weekday trips.
Okay.
Unless that's something that we've done differently, but I think that's been our practice.
Yeah, I don't think there's plans for this to have a school component or something like that. There'd be the sanctuary and then a gathering space on the lower level for the parishioners for use after services.
And Jason, what I would do in your statement is make that clear. Say that, this is when we're planning on having activities, and we're aware that if we were to start a school or a daycare, we would be subject to the LATR at that time.
Right. Okay. And so when we go through preliminary plan for this, so if they wanted to change their hours of use or add that school, that would be a preliminary plan amendment down the road. But right now it's just scheduled to, I guess, just be a sanctuary.
Yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
that's accurate. The only
Okay.
thing I couldn't remember is, given the zone, it might also be a conditional use. I can't remember, but yes, you're right. It would be
Yep.
some sort of amendment to whatever, approval is for the project,
Okay, thank you for that.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't have anything else. I just appreciate the comments.
Sure, no problem. No, thank you.
All right.
Very
Thank
good. Well, thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Christina Sorrento. I'm the Chief of the Intake and Regulatory Coordination Division, and this is the DRC meeting for Alta Vista. Your lead reviewer is Saquon Gatlin. And the purpose of this meeting is to answer any questions based on the comments that you received. I'll ask Saquon to highlight any of the major items and then turn it over to you. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded. Go ahead, Saquon.
Good morning, I'm Saquon with Down County Planning, and I'm the lead reviewer for this application for Alta Vista, the Edmond subdivision.
Request people to speak a little louder, please. Sorry. Hard to hear.
Sure, I'll do my best.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Saquon with Down County. I'm the lead reviewer for this application, as Christina said. I'll just go over a few of the major comments. The full list was sent to you via email last week, and then we can take any questions you have.
Okay.
So for both planning and DPS zoning, there were comments to update your lot dimensions as noted on the plans and some of your frontage notes. Also, we wanted you to show sidewalk and buffer as required, even though you're requesting to waive it, we need to see that on the plans now. Also, just update your cross section for the street and as noted on the plan by transportation. You're also qualified for a noise analysis due to proximity to major roadways for this project. And just overall clarify the graphics, which have some overlap between proposed and existing features, so we can review it more carefully. And with that, I will turn to you for any questions.
Noise study. Yeah, we were wondering as to, since we are that far from Beach Avenue, is that a must and all the neighbors had to go through the same?
So it's proximity to major roadways. It's also related to Old Georgetown Road, which you're also in proximity to. And this is for any project with residential units within proximity to these major roads.
Just a follow-up, and my name's Casey Cerner. I'm with Miles and Stockbridge, the attorney for the project representing Ash. He's the principal of the entity that owns the property. Question about the noise analysis. Can we use the one from the properties that were subdivided adjacent to this property?
Marco, the environmental.
So, excuse me, one difference with that property is it wasn't within 300 feet of Beach Avenue, which carries 5,000 or more vehicle trips per day. It's a little further. You're right near the 300-foot threshold. Then in the noise guidelines, there's a requirement for each site to do their own analysis. And then the other thing with the analysis is that they go out to a 20-year projected noise analysis. And if you're using one that's, say, 7 years old or whatever, then you're not going to get the proper projection. So you need to have your own analysis performed.
With respect to the noise guidelines, I was looking at Beach Avenue. I couldn't find the classification of that road on the master plan for transportation, the master plan for highways. I did not see that it was classified as an arterial, so I don't know why that kicks the property into a noise study.
I could send a link after this meeting, but it's through Department of Transportation, and it maps out the vehicle trips per major roadways, and it shows that one carrying 5,000 or more vehicle trips per day, which is one of the triggering requirements under the noise analysis. And then also within Old Georgetown Road, you're within 600 feet of that. There's the requirement if you're within 600 feet of a roadway carrying 20,000 or more vehicle trips per day, it would also be subject. So either roadway alone would make the property subject to the noise analysis.
When I read the guidelines, it says 300 feet of arterial roads with ADT of 5,000 to 20,000. So I don't think that Beach falls into triggering the noise analysis. And then it also provides that when there's intervening buildings, it can extend the distance because we are like almost 500 feet from Old Georgetown Road. It just, as you can imagine, it seems like a heavy lift and a pretty big burden to do a noise study for two homes within an existing residential developed neighborhood.
Yeah, two or three more thoughts on that. So it also does say when you're near, sorry, that's a good point, that when you have intervening structures that that would understandably create some buffering. But it also says when you're near multiple sources, then that would diminish the benefit of the existing buffering. But then we've had a number of applications, some that are still underway now, others that were recently approved, where they were just one or two lot subdivisions, and that they also were subject to the requirements. But at this point, I guess if you can send an email with a few bullet points as to why you think it wouldn't be subject, then I'll coordinate with legal and other staff and we'll get you a formal response.
Okay, we'll follow up with you on that. Saquon, with respect to the cross section, I noticed you were requesting an additional 5 feet of dedication. What's the cross section for this? I thought it was fully dedicated. I didn't anticipate any additional dedication.
I can double check that with you with our planning staff who isn't present today. I was looking at the classification of the road here. I'll have to get back with you on that after communicating with our transportation staff, but you think it's fully dedicated here?
I think it's fully dedicated, and with the project that was adjacent to it, they didn't have to do any additional dedication either. So, thank you.
Yeah, I have that plat if you want.
Okay, thank you.
When sending the dedication were the two biggest questions I had on my list. The sidewalk, we are requesting for that to be waived, and that's a decision to be made by DPS or DOT in their letter.
I'm not sure if it'll be in their letter, but yes, it'll be at DPS and DOT at a later time, at time of permitting, likely.
This is Rebecca from DOT. You need to show us this. You need to show us this section will fit within that existing right of way. Billy Whalen is your reviewer, and he can speak more of that. And the sidewalk needs to be shown along the frontage of the property.
Do we submit the waiver to you, Rebecca?
No, it's through DPS, but you need to show the cross section fits within the existing right of way. Otherwise, we'll require additional right of way.
Hi, this is Billy Whalen. Yeah, our comment was if it could be classified as a neighborhood yield street, then a 50-foot right of way is acceptable, but you'll still have to show that you can fit the improvements within that right of way. But the classification is up to park and planning.
So, hi there, this is Jagdish. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm the engineer for Ash. The adjacent properties, the plat calls for the Forest Road as a 50-foot right of way.
Look, we look at the plan before us today. And we will, what today's standards are, we require that. I don't know when that was done. You know, we have new complete streets. And so we consider that, but at this point, we need you to show the full cross section that it fits within the existing right of way.
Okay.
And then if it has to be reclassified, so most of these streets were considered secondary residential streets because there was no tertiary, which is the old standards. However, we have new standards today, and you just need to show that it fits within the existing right of way. Also, the cross section that you show, please remove that from the document. It shouldn't be there. You should draw your own.
Okay.
And the cross section is for a neighborhood yield street.
No, you need to show, planning needs to tell you what the classification is, and then you need to draw the cross section and show that it can fit within the existing right of way. That includes the sidewalk.
And then Saquon, you were gonna follow up on what? Okay, thank you.
No, Stefan, I think we are fine with you.
Okay, also we received a late letter from the community, from a neighboring property owner that you received that. It had to be scanned in because it was sent physically. So I mentioned they had comments on stormwater management. You guys received that? Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a second? We did receive it. They mailed a hard copy to me as well. So
Okay.
thank you for passing that along. I believe a similar letter was sent to DPS.
Yes.
I didn't have a chance to check the dates, but I assume that was received before the stormwater management plan was approved by DPS.
That's correct. That's correct. This is Mark Etheridge. We did get some downstream letters from some of the surrounding homeowners during the concept review stage, and this was one of them.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mark. And so the stormwater management plan was approved. It does propose 6 dry wells in total, 3 on each proposed lot. We'll reach out to the neighbors just to make sure they have that information. It didn't seem like they did.
They said they didn't see it on the plan, but.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, does Park and Planning have any concerns that would kick this from administrative approval to a planning board approval, since DPS is in charge of approving the stormwater management?
If the neighbors still want to voice those comments and complaints to the board, we would have to go to a planning board approval. But if we're able to satisfy their comments in showing that there's an appropriate stormwater capture and they rescind that, then we're able to proceed administratively.
Is there
Well,
anything
let me just clarify something really quickly. This is Mark Etheridge again. Those dry wells are not for controlling offsite flow. Those dry wells are environmental mitigation practices. They've got really very little to do with increases of flow onto adjacent properties. And we did not review or approve this for safe conveyance through those properties. If those neighbors have concerns, and they typically do because there's something changing up above them, then they're going to have concerns with additional runoff. And you guys, as the designers, need to look at this and see if you have any concerns about the conveyance yourself. I don't see anything that jumps out that looks like it's a conveyance issue. None of the letters that we received indicated there were existing problems with flooding below. It's not a tremendous increase in runoff, but we're not reviewing these concepts for placing dry wells to remove runoff from adjacent properties. They're to provide groundwater recharge for a very small part of a one-year storm. Just want to make that clear.
Yes, Mark, this is Jagdish. Yeah, I agree. And based on my comms, we are not increasing the flows to the back neighbors. In fact, we are sending a little more towards Forest Road. So in the back, based on my comms, the increase was 0.01 CFS.
Yeah,
I
think it's reasonable that they have concerns, certainly. And I think that you've got it covered probably. It seems reasonable what you've done. I did look at your stuff at the concept stage because we do not ignore it, but I just want to make sure that we don't present these dry wells to the neighbors as protection for them from runoff, because that's not what they're intended to do.
No, that's correct.
Okay.
I guess what jurisdiction does the planning board have over the stormwater management concerns?
Of the concerns themselves.
Yeah, I guess I'm just not understanding why it would have to go to the board.
Well, if the public has concerns, it would come to a public hearing where the public can voice those concerns, and we can get further feedback at that time. It's part of the way our application processes work, just to make sure it's open to the public. As far as what the board would require, I can't speak to that, but we do just make sure that before we even go there, we have our findings met and we can speak to meet all the qualifications in the staff report, so that all that information is presented to the board at the time.
Okay, well, I think Jagdish is comfortable that we're not impacting the neighbors. So we'll make sure that they're aware of that, and we'll keep you up to date on our communications with them. See if we can get that.
In many cases, Casey, if they request a hearing, we have to honor that. But if, we can address the comments before it gets to that stage, we try to do that. And if we feel like it's not relevant, or if it's part of every single application, like stormwater or some tree removal that would come up, then I think we can tend to evaluate that a little differently. But if the property owner does request a hearing, we would honor that.
I thought there was a level of the substance of the request.
That's relevant.
Yeah, right.
So that, you know, that definitely has, we've tried to be a little bit more, you know, lenient towards the applications coming in to see if we can move those ahead and take them administratively. And in some cases, we've been able to do that. So it really does become case by case, but we'll do what we can to evaluate it and make sure that it's not just going because someone just said, hey, we have a problem with this without really delving into the particular issue.
Okay, well, we'll make sure that you have the substantive information for your justification.
I will submit the comps that I've done on the back property or front. So you have some more facts to make a decision on.
That's helpful.
Thank you. That's it. I forgot everybody was online, so. I'm speaking from the ceiling.
I'll just give a quick overview of the schedule, based on the acceptance date of January.
Hold on, excuse me.
Wait, this is Billy Whalen again. The storm drain comps are incomplete. They don't have the pipe sizes listed. There's a drainage area map, but you're not showing that showing the sizes of the pipes. I'll send you a link to the to what we expect to have to review.
I can download those from your StormNet and give you the sizes and the inwards.
Okay, you need to
Okay.
submit a complete storm drain package before we can review it. So, and say that it's gonna be acceptable.
Okay. Will do.
And Billy, were you gonna send that link directly to Jagdish?
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you.
I mean, it's no different than what we've been doing for every other project, so. It's just incomplete and needs to be completed.
Oh, I thought the link was gonna have information on the pipe sizes. Sorry, I may have misunderstood.
Is that what maybe I was wrong?
Oh, no, the link will have the what's expected in a complete package. If you have access to the StormNet.
Okay.
Which I believe Jagdish said
Yeah.
you can get the pipe sizes from there.
Okay, we're good then, sorry.
Okay.
All right, well, I think that's it for us.
WSSC comments?
Is anybody from WSSC here?
Yes, good morning. Karen Carpio from WCC.
Yeah, one comment of yours I wanted to ask you about HPA.
Yeah, you don't have the sizes of your proposed sewer. And the property is in a basin that we have problem with overflow. So we need to know the size of your proposed sewer to be able to see if you need a HPA or not for your site.
Okay, proposed will be 4 inches or smaller.
Okay, so yeah, you will not need a HPA then.
Okay, that's all. I just wanted to confirm that.
Can you send an email to me, please?
I'll send you an email with the sizes of the house connections.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
This is Billy again. I just copied the link into the chat, but I'll email it too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Okay, so I'll just say, your second resubmission is due on the 26th of February. The final will be due on March the 8th. with agency letters, then due on March 23rd. And if we do need a planning board date, it should be by April 17th, prior to the expiration of your review period.
This is Rebecca again. Can you send out when your letters are due? Can you send out an invite for that so that we have it on our calendar?
Yes, I'll do that, Rebecca. Thank you.
Thank you. And if it just changes, just send it, re-update the letter. Or re-update the invite, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.